Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I'm continuing my reading and review of The Book of the Damned by Charles Fort. As always, you can find all episodes of the show, along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show, including the Patreon feed and the merch store, at the website, which is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. Support is never expected, but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. Also, please check out the links to friends of the show in every episode description. Jen, the Arcane Observer, has her own channel and also is the co-host of this show, usually on the weekends. And also Michael Strange and the Trouble Minds Radio Show and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. There you can hear my show and many others 24/7 over there on it's an online radio station. So also my usual disclaimers for these reading shows here. What I'm reading is a book by another person, by Charles Fort. So there may be ideas in there that and thoughts in there that we don't agree with as far as that are his, but they are his, and we will still keep reading through and think of them as we will. Also, there may be some ideas in there or some things that are talked about as being mysterious that since the early 1900s, science may have figured out. So just keep in mind this book is not from recent years. It's from a little ways back. Also, I will mispronounce many names of places and people because they're in other languages at times, and words are hard in general anyway. So let me get back to the book here. Thank you all for being here and listening in. And let's find where I left off. Okay. Nature, January 10th, 1884, quotes a Kimberley newspaper, I guess that's a town, that toward the close of November 1883, a thick shower of ashy matter fell at Queenstown, South Africa. The matter was in... Hang on, I think I'm going to skip too many. There we go. And the matter was in marble-sized balls, which were soft and pulpy, but which, upon drying, crumbled at touch. The shower was confined to one narrow streak of land. It would be only ordinarily preposterous to attribute this substance to Krakatoa, again another volcano. But with the fall, loud noises were heard. But I'll omit many notes upon ashes. If ashes should sift down upon deep-sea fishes, that is not to say that they came from steamships. Data of falls of cinders have been especially damned by Mr. Simmons, the meteorologist, some of whose investigations we'll investigate later. Nevertheless, notice of a fall in Victoria, Australia, April 14th, 1875. British Association, 1875-242. At least we are told, in the reluctant way, that someone thought he saw matter fall near him at night, and the next day found something that looked like cinders. In the procession of the London, or proceedings, I'm guessing, maybe, of the London Royal Society, 19-122, there is an account of cinders that fell on the deck of a lightship, January 9th, 1873. In the American Journal of Science 2-24-449, there is a notice that the editor had received a specimen of cinders said to have fallen in showery weather upon a farm near Ottawa, Illinois? No, I don't know. Yeah, Illinois, I guess. January 17th, January 17th, 1857. That threw me all off there. Anyway. But after all, ambiguous things they are. Cinders or ashes or slag or clinkers. The high priest of the accursed that must speak aloud for us is coal that has fallen from the sky. Or coke, and that's a kind of petroleum, I believe, or coal. Not the other stuff, or the soda. The person who thought he saw something like cinders also thought he saw something like coke, we are told. Nature 36-119. Something that, in quotation marks, looked exactly like coke. Again, that's a mineral or material, not anything else. That fell during a thunderstorm in the Orne, France. I wonder if that's a river, or maybe a river or something. April 24th, 1887. Or charcoal. Dr. Angus Smith in the Literature and Philosophy Society of Manchester Memoirs, that's quite the long name, 2-9-146, says that about 1827, like a great deal in Lyell's Principles and Darwin's Origin, this account is from hearsay. Something fell from the sky near Alport, England. It fell luminously with a loud report and scattered in a field. A fragment that was seen by Dr. Smith is described by him as having, in quotation marks, the appearance of a piece of common wood, charcoal, in quotation marks. Nevertheless, the reassured feeling of the faithful upon reading this is burdened with data of differences. The substance was so uncommonly heavy that it seemed as if it had iron in it. Also, there was, in quotation marks, a sprinkling of sulfur, in quotation marks. This material is said by Professor Baden-Powell to be, in quotation marks, totally unlike that of any other meteorite, in quotation marks. Gregg, in his catalog, British Association, 1860-73, calls it, in quotation marks, a more than doubtful substance, in quotation marks. But again, against reassurance, that is not doubt of authenticity. Gregg says that it is like compact charcoal with particles of sulfur and iron pyrites embedded. Reassurance rises again. Professor Baden-Powell says, in quotation marks, it contains also charcoal, which might perhaps be acquired from matter among which it fell. This is a common reflex with the exclusionists, that substances, in quotation marks, not in quotation marks, there we go, truly meteoritic, in quotation marks, did not fall from the sky, but were picked up by truly meteoritic things, of course, only on their surfaces by impact with this earth. rhythm of assurances and their declines. According to Dr. Smith, this substance was not merely coated with charcoal. His analysis gives 43.59 or 59% carbon. Our acceptance that coal has fallen from the sky will be via data of resinous substances and bituminous, bituminous substances which merge so that they cannot be told apart. Resinous substance said to have fallen at Kaba, I'm not sure about that, Hungary, April 15th, 1887. British Association, 1860-94. A resinous substance that fell after a fireball at Neuhaus, Bohemia, December 17th, 1824. British Association, 1860-70. Fall, July 8th, fall, and that means like a falling of things. July 28th, 1885 at Lucan, during a storm of a brownish substance, very friable, carbonaceous matter. When burned, it gave out a resinous odor. Comptus Rentus 103-837. Substance that fell February 17th, 18th, and 19th, 1841, at Genoa, Italy, said to have been resinous. Said by Arago, Overs, not sure about that, 12-469, to have been bituminous matter and sand. Fall, during a thunderstorm, July of 1681, near Cape Cod, upon the deck of an English vessel, the Albemarle, there we go, of, in quotation marks, burning bituminous matter, in quotation marks, Edinburgh New Philosophy Journal, 26-86. A fall at Christiania, Norway, June 13th, 1822, of bituminous matter, listed by Greg as doubtful. And Greg is another publisher, writer for all these things, I guess. Fall of bituminous matter in Germany, March 8th, 1798. Listed by Greg Lockyer, The Meteoritic Hypothesis, page 24. Says that, by Greg, okay, Lockyer, that's a different person. Says that the substance that fell at the Cape of Good Hope, October 13th, 1838, about 5 cubic feet of it, substance so soft that it was cuttable with a knife, in quotation marks. After being experimented upon, it left a residue which gave out a very bituminous smell. And that's in that paragraph, in quotation marks. Okay. And this inclusion of Lockyer's, so far as findable in all books that I have read, is in books about as close as we can get to our desideratum. I'm not even sure what that word is. I guess decision is part of it. That coal has fallen from the sky. Dr. Farrington, except with a brief mention, ignores the whole subject of the fall of carbonaceous matter from the sky. Proctor, in all of his books that I have read, is in books about as close as we can get to the admission that carbonaceous matter has been found in meteorites, in quotation marks, in very minute quantities, in quotation marks. Or my own suspicion is that it is possible to damn something else only by losing one's own soul. Quasi-soul, of course. Scientific American 35-120. That the substance that fell at the Cape of Good Hope resembled, in quotation marks here, resembled a piece of anthracite coal more than anything else, in quotation marks. It's a mistake, I think. The resemblance is to bituminous coal, but it is from the periodicals that we must get our data. To the writers of books upon meteorites, it would be as wicked, by which we mean departure from the characters of an established species, quasi-established, of course, to say that coal has fallen from the sky, as would be to something in a barnyard, a temptation that it climb a tree and catch a bird. Domestic things in a barnyard, and how wild things from forests outside seem to them. Or the homeopathist, but we shall shovel data of coal. And if over and over we shall learn of masses of soft coal that have fallen upon this earth, if in no instance has it been asserted that the masses did not fall, but were upon the ground in the first place, if we have many instances this time, we turn down good and hard the mechanical reflex that these masses were carried from one place to another in whirlwinds, because we find it too difficult to accept that whirlwinds could so select or so specialize in a particular in a peculiar substance. Among writers of books, the only one I know of who makes more than brief mention is Sir Robert Ball. He represents a still more antique orthodoxy, or is an exclusionist of the old type, still holding out against even meteorites. He cites several falls of carbonaceous matter, but with disregards that make for reasonableness that earthy matter may have been caught up by whirlwinds and flung down somewhere else. If he had given a full list, he would be called upon to explain the special affinity of whirlwinds for a special kind of coal. He does not give a full list. We shall have all that's findable, and we shall see that against this disease we're writing, the homeopathist's prescription availeth not. Another exclusionist was Professor Lawrence Smith. His psychotropism was to respond to all reports of carbonaceous matter falling from the sky by saying that this damned matter had been deposited upon things of the chosen by impact with this earth. Most of our data antedate him, or were contemporaneous with him, or were as accessible to him as to us. In his attempted positivism, there we go, it is simply and beautifully regarded that, according to Berthelot, Berzelius, Close, and Waller, and others, these masses are merely coated with carbonaceous matter, but are carbonaceous throughout, or are permeated throughout. How anyone could so resolutely and dogmatically and beautifully and blindly hold out would puzzle us, were it not for our acceptance that only to think is to exclude and include, and to exclude some things that have as much right to come in as have the included, that to have an opinion upon any subject is to be a Lawrence Smith, because there is no definite subject. Dr. Walter Flight, that's an amazing last name, Eclectic Magazine, A9-71, says of the substance that fell near Elias, France, March 15th, 1806, that it, in quotation marks, emits a faint bituminous substance, in quotation marks, when heated. According to the observations of Berzelius and a commission appointed by the French Academy. This time we have not the reluctances expressed in such words as like and resembling. We are told that this substance is, in quotation marks, an earthy kind of coal, in quotation marks. Let's see how big the, okay. As to, in quotation marks, minute quantities, in quotation marks, we are told that the substance that fell at the Cape of Good Hope has in it a little more than a quarter of organic matter, which in alcohol gives the familiar reaction of yellow resinous matter. Other instances given by Dr. Flight are carbonaceous matter that fell in 1840 in Tennessee, Cranbourne, Australia, 1861, Montauban, France, May 14th, 1864. 20 masses, some of them as large as a human head, of a substance that, in quotation marks, resembled a dull-colored, earthy lignite, in quotation marks. And these are this is just a list, so this is, if it sounds weird, that's why. Goalpara, India, about 1867, about 8% of a hydrocarbon. At Ornans, France, July 11th, 1868, substance with, in quotation marks, an organic combustible ingredient, in quotation marks. At Hessel, Sweden, January 1st, 1860. We are out of time. Thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.